Good evening. Thanks for joining me. Tonight's Friday night mini reading is dedicated to MayDay. Today's the 1st of May, and on May 1st, 1886, more than 300,000 workers from 13,000 different businesses across the United States walked off on strike, thus kickstarting the labor movement that flourished and is coming back. So this is for all my brothers and sisters out there on the picket lines, and for all of us who want to see a better thing for all of us. And these poems are dealing with issues relating to justice, economic justice, labor, and so forth. First one is a general piece that appeared in Big Hammer and elsewhere. It's called Throw Up Your Hands, Hands Up. We start with the assumption that the poor will always be with us. There's nothing to do. We can't set up a system where all people can earn enough to own a decent home or get good health care because we assume the poor will always be there. Throw up your hands and wail. We've done all we can. Look at them in their squalid glory of white noise and no opportunity. And the rich really are getting richer, and the poor will always be with us. Throw up your hands. Don't confront the people who sit in mansions or yachts or oak-paneled boardrooms who tell us we can't pay everyone a decent wage because it will hurt the market. Hurt the market. We can hurt the people and the land and the sea and the air, but we must not hurt, or we will damage the sacred Dow Jones, or the pressure to keep inflation low, or the ones who pay $1,000 per plate fundraisers who also sit on boards that give to charities that do not make it possible for most people to earn decent wages and live in decent homes and get good health care, because the poor will always be. The poor will always be there. The conservative Kabbalah of the snake eating its tail is the market will adapt, and the poor will always be with us. We're only trying to take care of our families, and we don't wish them harm, but we cannot have a better minimum wage. We cannot have universal health care. We cannot guarantee decent housing or decent education, because the market will not bear this, nor will the bulls and bears who shake their heads and sigh. We give to charities. We provide opportunities, and the poor will always be with us. Throw up your hands and pray. Throw up your hands and pray. Hands up. Hands up. Might as well use a gun. Might as well sell crack or weapons, or try to change things a little from the inside. The poor will always be. Hands up. No false moves. No imagination. No hope. And no one but the poor will get hurt. And this next one is a poem that I started writing a couple years ago, and then I lost track of it. I just found it today. And it's about a working man who did an amazing thing. This is the father of our dear friend, Anna Marie Jackson, who's no longer with us. And her father passed on before she did. And his name was Raymond Jackson. Anyway, this is called Finding Peace. Serbian and Croatian steelworkers brought their ancient feud with them into the mill. Large men with Slavic accents yelling above the din of a river of glowing molten steel. More old battles in a new setting where men came from everywhere to toil and survive. It was Steelton. Management was stumped. until they found a carpenter with a quick mind and a silver tongue. They found a black carpenter who had just fought and won the respect he was due as a skilled union worker. Raymond Jackson treated each man with the respect a hardworking man deserves. He kept his cool, and the heated words dissolved. A black man, 2 generations away from whips, chains, and auction blocks, brokered peace between 2 groups of white men who were collectively known as Slavs. So close to the word slave, but with still more privilege, even as they were yoked to the mill, as millions of working men and women were being oppressed and fighting back, fighting for justice, and then peace. When we look for the peacemakers, we seek those with degrees and connections, not the men and women who have survived the worst we can do to each other. Look for the ones who have fought, who have seen their brothers and sisters cold and still on the killing floor, in the killing fields, but have still laid down their arms. Maybe it does have something to do with carpentry. Look for the Raymond Jacksons of this world. Look for the heroes of peace with lines on their faces and scars on their souls. Look for them now. And this is a piece that I wrote for Dr. Martin Luther King several years ago, and I read this on King Day every year in different places. But this is relevant also to MayDay and labor's and working people's rights. And the title of the poem is part of a quote from Dr. King. And the poem is called "To This Struggle." I wish I could find the answer in a book. And there it would be in black and white, but no such luck. And I'm looking to you, looking up to you, Dr. King, today. When you led the Poor People's Campaign, did you see this coming? Did you see too many people working too many hours for so little, for so long? Did you see people, families with full-time jobs, standing in line at food banks, the families of soldiers needing food stamps? Did you foresee that we would spend more, much more, on incarceration instead of education? It was in April 1968 when you spoke to Black sanitation workers from a Memphis union. You said, quote, "We've got to give ourselves to this struggle until the end," unquote. You said this the day before the forces of hate stole you from us. And in our rage and grief, we forgot for a moment that you had crossed color lines, but not picket lines, to bring us all together for a few glorious seconds that we are hoping to see again. The struggle is not over, Dr. King. And I'll keep reading, I'll keep searching through those powerful and inspiring speeches you bequeathed to us in the hopes we would avoid, quote, the racism, militarism, and materialism, unquote, you tried to warn us about. The struggle is far from over, Dr. King, and we will need your strength to make it to the end. And my last piece is for a working man who was one of our dear old neighbors. And this piece was published in the Harrisburg Review probably about 15, 20 years ago. So thanks, Chris Fegley. And this piece is set up with sort of 2 voices. One is describing Doc, and one is describing the day that he passed away. And this is called "So Long, Doc." Doc Miller punched through this world like only a horn player can. Cops with flashlights yelled into house, stiff figure sitting on couch. Doc, at our cookout, I'm cooking on the grill, little kids running around, damn near pastoral, chatting and laughter. Doc comes beside me, says casually, Rick, ever seen a corpse? I'd been banging on the walls. Isa tried to call, no response, no sight of him. Going on 2 days, I make the call. Doc was proud of World War II photos, Pacific Theater, haunted GIs, and Japanese corpses, palm trees, but also a couple shots of a large young sailor, Doc, holding a baritone sax, smiling. By the time the cops get the window open, younger one calls out, "Oh yeah, he's dead." Sounds of baseball from TV. Doc on front porch. I can't sleep. 1 a.m. arthritic torture. Doc asks, quote, "Hey Rick, you like to fight?" "Not with fists," I reply. And then the great withered roughneck in t-shirt and boxer shorts tells me an hazy streetlight story of how he got into bar fight on his wedding day. Walked up the aisle bruised, disheveled, momentarily ashamed. Coroner rolled him away. Body bag full of memories. I watch from porch, not surprised. The week before, he said, "It won't be long, Rick." Vaya con Buddha, old neighbor, sheet metal worker, sax player, cursing at your wife for locking screen door, thanking my wife for so good soup. So long, buddy. So long, Doc. So let's honor those picket lines of all those good folks who are on strike for protective gear from Amazon, and Target, and the other places. And long live the workers. Long live the labor movement. Long live us. Thanks.